Before you watch this video, make sure to check out parts 1 to 3, they will be linked in the description. 50 years have passed since Abeloth returned and almost destroyed the Skywalker's empire. After Coruscant's destruction, it took some time to retake control and ensure order around the galaxy, but eventually after the Senate was rebuilt on Naboo, order had returned. Anakin spends most of his time with various members of his family, traveling around the galaxy and ensuring there is no opposition to their empire. One day, when Anakin's sitting in his throne room on Naboo, he falls to his knees as he senses a disturbance in the Force. This is different from his normal visions of the Force that shows him the future. What he's sensing now is something that's happening at this very moment. He sees waves of green, blue, and yellow, the colors of Jedi lightsabers, and many beings strong in the light side of the Force, congregated together with a massive fleet of starships geared up for long-distance hyperspace travel. Anakin comes out of his vision on his hands and knees, dripping in sweat, with Padme by his side asking him what happened. He thinks about this for a moment. What has he just seen? It looked like a Jedi Order, but what could this order be? Did the Jedi manage to rebuild the Order under his nose? No, the Force would have shown him this if it happened. He reaches out with the Force to extend his range across his entire galaxy, but he doesn't sense an inkling of light side energy. He cleansed his galaxy of this years ago, but then it hits him. The Jedi from his vision must not be from his galaxy. He sets up an emergency meeting with the Council, which includes his 6 children, and details what he's seen. The Council is shocked and asks how this is even possible. Anakin explains how the Skywalker Empire's presence in the dark side has become so strong that it's leached and infiltrated so far across the universe that they've become detectable by this Jedi Order, who are planning on coming to cleanse it. He tells each of them to discuss this with their respective families, gather their forces, and gear up for all-out war. Anakin plans the defense of their galaxy and feels fear for the first time in 50 years. He saw the size of their Jedi Order, not only the number of Force users they have, but also the number of ships likely rivals their own. Anakin feels it once it happens. His galaxy infiltrated by the light side of the Force as the Intergalactic Jedi Order comes out of hyperspace. He reaches out with the Force and feels them arrive in the unknown regions. He contacts Leia immediately, who's atop of her Death Star, as her forces have engaged the Jedi's fleet in space. He commands her to fire the Death Star immediately, and she powers it up and locks onto their command ship. The Death Star's deafening shot travels across the dead of space, but before it reaches its target, the command ship fires its own laser bolt with an energy level just as high as the Death Star's cannon and hits it dead on, causing the Death Star's laser bolt to dissipate into nothingness. Anakin watches in shock as this happens and orders Leia to retreat immediately, and she manages to pull out as much of her forces as possible and gives up the unknown regions. She groups with Anakin's fleet around Naboo, and Anakin meets with the Council to discuss their counterattack, but halfway through the meeting, they are hailed by the enemy. A middle-aged female Jedi appears in front of them. She greets Emperor Anakin and introduces herself as Grandmaster Serena Valeria. She tells them why they have come, that their empire has become too strong, and the Sith's influence has run too deep and corrupted their galaxy for far too long, that she is the leader of an intergalactic Jedi Order with the sole purpose of traveling from galaxy to galaxy, ruled and occupied by a Sith Empire to defeat them. She explains that she's been doing this for 800 years and offers Anakin an opportunity to surrender, that victory is impossible. But Anakin responds, saying she sure is powerful, but doubts that she's ever met anyone like himself and Padme, 2 people who have started their own family dynasty that has lasted hundreds of years. They are unique, and so is their power in the Force. Defeating them will not be easy. Master Valeria tells Anakin that he's right. A family empire is unforeseen in her 800 years of dominance, but this doesn't matter and will not change the outcome. Anakin senses the transmission ending and reaches out to choke her with the Force, but he's too late. Once again, Anakin and Padme's galaxy is thrust into chaos as the Intergalactic Jedi Order, led by Valeria, have begun their attacks. Anakin commands from Naboo and is in a constant state of meditation, coordinating their response and moving his troops across the galaxy. This Jedi Order must have encountered Death Star-like weaponry powered by kyber crystals before and invented a defense so they weren't as effective as he thought they would be. However, normal cannons and bombs will be effective once the opponent's defenses are breached. Anakin was curious about how the Jedi would fight and wanted a good measure of their power. All the Sith in Anakin and Padme's galaxy had the blood of the Chosen One, so were at a minimum power level equal to that of Prime Darth Maul. He expected this to be superior to the Jedi Order. However, this wasn't the case. Their strength seemed to be equal, and Anakin lost a lot of descendants to the Jedi, but the Jedi also lost a good chunk of their members. Anakin wondered how this could be the case, and suspected that each time the Intergalactic Jedi Order defeated a Sith Empire, they would recruit some of the strongest Jedi of that galaxy to join their forces. No wonder Master Valeria hadn't lost for 800 years, and this might be the strongest light side order in the entire universe. Anakin doesn't worry about this, as she's met her match in the Skywalker Empire and is confident in their victory. Anakin's biggest defeat took place when Leia's forces were entirely wiped out defending the Hutt system. Valeria herself brought her own fleet and ravaged Leia in battle, overcoming her with superior battle tactics and overall strength. Leia lost 2 of her children in this battle, but the rest and herself managed to escape. Anakin decides it's time for himself to enter the war, and brings his own forces to wipe out a portion of the Jedi around the Endor system. He defeats 2 of the 8 members of the Intergalactic Jedi Order's Council, and successfully killed them. However, it wasn't easy, and they would have been a match for any of his children, and wonders whether Valeria's power might surpass his own. They've each lost around 20% of their forces, and Anakin wonders whether Valeria might be beginning to panic. He doubts she's ever lost this much in the last century. Valeria suffers another significant defeat as Anakin's youngest child, Ahsoka Skywalker, accompanied by Padme, had a huge victory at the Battle of Scarif to successfully kill 1 more council member. Valeria talks with the remainder of her council. She details the recent loss of council member Master Kor and how their forces are at 75% capacity. One of the Jedi Council members, Master Cairo, asks Valeria how this galaxy came to be ruled by the Sith so quickly, as their records stated that this galaxy was protected by a large Jedi Order, around 10,000 members, with an extremely powerful High Council. Valeria tells Cairo that what he says is correct, that she herself came to this galaxy around 400 years ago to personally ascertain the state of it, and met with the leader of the Jedi Order of the time, who was extremely powerful and had the potential to sit on this very council. His species lived for around 900 years, so she determined that this galaxy wouldn't be at threat of a Sith insurgence anytime soon. But somehow, Anakin Skywalker and Padme Amidala managed to defeat the Jedi Order by themselves and start their own family dynasty. Valeria tells them something wasn't right, that Emperor Anakin's power isn't natural and unlike anything she's ever seen before. But her power wasn't natural either, and she was one of the strongest Jedi the universe had ever seen. The war continues for another month, as the Jedi and Sith forces clash in the Skywalker galaxy. Padme had a lot of success in battle, and enjoyed dueling as she hadn't had much opportunity in the last 100 years, and she won her last battle on Onderon. Anakin's happy with how the war effort was going. He thinks back to his Clone War days, fighting alongside the clones and his best friends Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. Gosh, that felt like a lifetime ago to him, and sure it was. He decides it's time to make a huge dent in the Jedi's forces, and wants to attack Valeria directly. He prepared for this duel for 150 years, refining and mastering various Sith techniques to overcome the epitome of the Jedi, Grandmaster Valeria. Their forces are centered around Jakku, and Anakin brings his own, Padme and Luke's forces to attack them directly. They come out of hyperspace and are instantly thrust into battle. Valeria calls upon her council to deploy their forces and commends Anakin for his boldness in battle. He must be confident to attack them directly, and there's no doubt the victor of this war will be decided here and now. Anakin pilots a Sith cruiser with himself, Padme, Luke, and 20 other powerful members of the Skywalker family. He weaves his way through the battlefield, dodging blaster fire from both sides and the single-man Jedi cruisers. He heads straight for the Jedi command ship and centers around 30 Jedi present, as the rest are spread throughout their forces in other areas of the galaxy. They land in their hangar and enter attack mode. Anakin is met by Jedi Master Illyrion, a council member who wields a lightsaber whip, a weapon that Anakin had only heard of but never faced. Anakin instantly felt Illyrion use Force Light, a light side technique that would weaken the Darksider's connection to the Force, but Anakin casts his own Force Drain to even the playing field. Illyrion wraps her whip around Anakin's lightsaber and yanks it out of his hand and lunges towards him. She cracks her whip towards Anakin, heading straight for his chest, but Anakin simply stands in place and lets it come towards him. Illyrion thinks she has Anakin beat, but before the whip connects, Padme throws Nightbringer across the room, blocking and shattering the Force whip. Anakin reaches out with his hand and grabs Illyrion by the neck and lifts her up into the air as she squirms around, gasping for air, but Anakin cracks her neck and throws her to the side. The hangar doors open and in rush 30 Jedi, and Anakin commands his forces to attack. One of the Jedi heads straight for him, but Anakin can sense he's a weaker one out of the bunch, trying to make a name for himself by killing the Emperor. But Anakin simply stares at him, activating his deadly sight, and the Jedi burst into flames by the sheer strength of Anakin's dark side vision. Anakin looks behind the pack of the Jedi to see Master Valeria take off her cape and arm herself. Anakin smirks as the real battle is about to begin. Anakin and Valeria rush each other and clash in the center of the room. Anakin utilizes his ability to fly, combined with his Force speed to dart around the battlefield, looking for an opening to break Valeria's defenses. But she was good, a master of defense, and adopted a similar style to his fallen brother Obi-Wan. She wielded a bright purple blade, signalizing that she was the master of the Order, and she showed this in her power. He threw every Force technique he knew at her: Force Choke, Crush, Drain, Corrupt, Lightning, but she managed to block every single time with her own Force potential. Valeria also attacked with light side techniques. She used Alter Environment, a Force power that altered the environment around them, creating a stream of fog that blinded Anakin. He didn't worry, as he could still sense her through the Force, but what she did was unexpected. She cast Electrical Judgment, a light side Force lightning, which connected to every fog particle and electrocuted Anakin temporarily, holding him in place. She dissipated the fog, hit Anakin with a few Force stuns, and rushed towards him with her blade. But Anakin recouped his strength in the last moment, and blocked her strike with a Force shield. Anakin commends her mid-battle, telling her she's strong, but it's time to up the pace. Anakin uses Force Shadow to create an afterimage to confuse Valeria, as he attacks her relentlessly. He casts a Force Drain, attempting to consume her life energy, but her Force Light counteracts this. He uses the Force to grab Padme's blade, Nightbringer, and thrusts it towards Valeria, but Anakin's shocked as her lightsaber doesn't shatter. They hold their blades in place, attempting to overpower the other with brute strength, but Illyria calls on her allies and uses Force Meld, a technique where a number of Force users join their minds together through the Force, drawing upon each other, allowing her power to exceed Anakin as she shatters Nightbringer and slashes down across Anakin's chest and sends him flying back. She follows up with Force Combustion, a telekinetic Force ability that allows her to cause inanimate objects to explode. Anakin flies across the room and lands on his back after being hit with serious damage. He gets to one knee as Valeria walks towards him. She taunts him and laughs how Anakin thought he was the most powerful Force user the universe had ever seen. He was hailed as the strongest, and yet turned out to be painfully ordinary. Valeria raises her hands and goes to blast Electric Judgment, but she looks at her hands as the Force technique fails. She goes to unleash it again, but once again it fails. She looks at Anakin and asks him what he's done, who's reaching out with his hand and smirking. Although Valeria had all the light side techniques at her disposal, this is one power she will never learn, and the fact she doesn't know what Anakin is doing confirms it in his mind. He explains how he's connecting to the midichlorians inside of her, 25,000 per cell, and is slowly decreasing that number, reducing her connections to the midichlorians. Palpatine was right all those years ago, only a power that could be achieved by a Sith. This ability is only temporary and won't cause permanent damage, but she won't be alive in time for her cells to recover. And because of this, she can't use any force techniques. She asks Anakin why he didn't do this from the start, who simply replies he wanted to play with her for a while before he ended things. He tells Valeria she was the strongest for a while, but the moment Anakin was born, thrust into the universe, conceived by the Force itself, he took her place. Valeria kneels before him, as she knows her time is over, as Anakin blasts her away, causing her flesh to detach from the bones and muscle below. And with her death, Anakin assisted the rest of his family in defeating the Jedi in the hangar, and they successfully took over the heart of the Intergalactic Jedi Order, and their victory was assured. Thank you all for watching. Part 5 will be the next video on the channel, out in a couple of days, and will be the final episode in Padme's story as a Sith Lord, and the tale will finally come to an end. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this story so far, and leave your predictions in the comments below.